This is Don Sipple calling, and I have a lady that just came to my house, and somebody attacked her, and she needs a doctor. Her clothes are all torn, and yeah, she's injured. Her mouth is kind of got some blood around it, and her clothes are all torn.
Okay, and she's by herself?
She's by herself. She walked to my house here just recently.
Okay, and can you ask her what her name is?
What's your name, ma'am? What? You don't know? She's in kind of bad shape. She just says she don't know.
Okay, let me put you on hold. Do not hang up. I'm going to start some help, okay?
Sure.
A young woman knocked on Don Sipple's door. Her clothes were ripped, she had no shoes on, and she was covered in mud, blood and bruises. The woman said that she could not remember her name or anything else. She had 3 cuts on the palm of her hand, and the word boy was carved into her forearm. Welcome back to Dark Case Documentaries. I bring you true crime, disturbing stories and other things that you may later regret knowing, with at least 2 new videos every week. Please do join the quickly growing Dark Case family by hitting subscribe now and turning on notifications. Ezra McCandless was born on October 6, 1997. Her mother gave birth to her when she was just 14 years old in Stanley, Wisconsin. Her biological father was not in her life. However, Ezra was legally adopted by her mother's husband, Josh Carlin, when she was 4 years old. Ezra's mother and adoptive father then divorced when she was 12. However, her relationship with her adoptive father Josh was not strained by this occurrence. They remained close. When Ezra went to high school, she began to explore everything about her identity. She experienced some confusion and dysphoria surrounding her gender. Ezra's birth name was Monica Key, but she no longer felt that this was a good fit. She then legally changed her name to Ezra McCandless. She chose the surname McCandless after Chris McCandless, an American adventurer who sought a nomadic lifestyle. He was famously the subject of the book and movie titled Into the Wild. Ezra then went to college but soon dropped out and moved to Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Eau Claire has a population of around 70,000, making it the 8th largest city in Wisconsin. In the summer of 2017, Ezra was 19 years old when she meets 33-year-old Jason Mengel, a National Guard medic. Their relationship quickly flourished and they moved in together that same summer in August. The 14-year age difference didn't seem to matter. Jason said that Ezra was a very spontaneous and energetic person, and that she kept someone like him on its toes. She was full of surprises and enjoyed attracting attention to herself. Ezra described their relationship as one in which they loved each other so intensely that it terrified them both. Ezra was also an artist who enjoyed painting. She would use her car as a canvas, painting different designs all over it. So when she drove it around, she would get the attention that it seemed that she desired from other people. As the couple grew closer, they began discussing marriage. However, they already frequently referred to each other as husband and wife. Race's coffee shop is popular in Eau Claire. Jason and Ezra frequently visited. There, the couple met Alex Woodworth, a 24-year-old barista. Alex also worked as a substitute teacher after earning a Bachelor of Science degree in philosophy with a minor in biology from the University of Wisconsin. He began applying to graduate school with the ultimate goal of earning his PhD and becoming a philosophy professor. Alex was described as a nice guy, a deep thinker, and philosophy was clearly his passion. His future as a philosophy professor was important to him. He would always have books on the subject on his person, and he was always looking for more recommendations. Alex placed a high value on family. He was the oldest of 4 children, and his father, John, described him as someone who enjoyed being a big brother. His arms were always draped over his family in photos, keeping them close to him, embracing them. Alex was a devout member of his church and was always willing to assist those in need. He seemed to like all creatures, including bugs and spiders, referring to them affectionately as unlovely because most people didn't like them. Alex always made sure that everyone was taken care of. As long as he was happy with whatever he was doing, that was all that mattered. When Alex first met Ezra and Jason, he wanted to be there for them too, but arguably more so for Ezra. She was going through a difficult emotional time because she discovered she was pregnant with Jason's child in October of 2017, just a few months into the relationship. Ezra knew that she was not ready to take on the role of motherhood and responsibility of having a child. So on October the 6th, 2017, on Ezra's 20th birthday, she and Jason drove to Minneapolis to get a termination. Ezra felt guilty about the procedure. She said that she didn't want Jason to see her go through with it. So Jason wandered the city until Ezra contacted him that she was ready to go home. This ordeal took an emotional and physical toll on Ezra and her connection with Jason. A connection that had been so intense but was gradually fading. Ezra began to grow closer to Alex while slowly drifting away from Jason. Jason stated that Alex and Ezra complemented each other in the sense that Ezra could fix things in Alex's life and Alex could fix things in Ezra's life. Jason became aware that Alex and Ezra were becoming closer. Jason stated that Ezra felt guilty about the termination of her pregnancy, that she was left with a lot of trauma, and that she was feeling increasingly isolated. Jason believed that Alex was better equipped to deal with this than he was. Somewhat predictably, Alex and Ezra eventually became more than just friends, and they began having a secret relationship behind Jason's back. Jason then spent 2 weeks training with the National Guard in February of 2018. Before Jason left, he told John Hansen to keep an eye on Ezra to make sure that she was okay. Jason and John became friends after both serving in the military. They shared the same interests, so John was someone that Jason felt he could trust. Ezra, however, took this opportunity to begin yet another intimate relationship, this time with John. During Jason's absence of just 2 weeks, Ezra called him to inform him that she was leaving their apartment and returning to her family in Stanley, Wisconsin. Ezra and Jason remained in contact and would frequently meet up. Jason would book a hotel room for Ezra and himself to spend time in together. Jason went through Ezra's phone one night once she had fallen asleep. There, he discovered messages from not one but 2 different men, Alex and John. Jason stated that he already suspected Ezra of cheating on him with Alex, and that reading the messages only confirmed his suspicions. When Ezra discovered that Jason was aware of her relationships, she told him that the relationship with John was non-consensual. She claimed that the 2 of them had been drinking one night and had gotten inebriated. She then blacked out, and the attack happened while she was unconscious. Jason went to the police station to file a report, and they then contacted Ezra, who told them the same story that she told Jason, that the 2 had been drinking, she blacked out, and that is when the attack was carried out. The detective examined her text messages and phone records and discovered that she was lying. According to the text messages, she had told Alex that her relationship with John was consensual, but that she did regret it. As a result, the charges against John were dropped. Jason then confronted both Alex and John about their relationships with Ezra. Jason and Ezra's relationship now ended. At this time, it is widely believed that Ezra also ended her relationship with Alex by texting him and saying that she never wanted to speak to him again. Ezra, according to Jason, was manipulative to all 3 men, both himself, Alex and John. Ezra wrote to Jason about how bad she felt for betraying him and how much she loved him. She said she wanted to give him the letters in person, but he insisted that they instead be mailed. Jason went to Racy's coffee shop on March the 22nd, 2018, and whilst there, he noticed Ezra. He said that Ezra appeared agitated, and she stated that she was on her way to Alex's house to drop off a heating pad and a bookmark. Ezra and Jason were still very much in contact. The night before, they exchanged over 600 text messages. For a couple that weren't together, this was still a very intense relationship. Jason mentioned that when Ezra left the coffee shop, she had fire in her eyes. Jason thought it was strange that Ezra told Alex not to talk to her anymore, but now she wanted to return some items to Alex. To him, this felt strange, and Jason had a feeling that something bad was about to happen. Ezra left in her car, and Jason hopped on his bike and rode to Alex's house, hoping to arrive there before she did. When Jason arrived, he noticed that Ezra's 2003 Chevy Impala was already there, engine still running, music playing, and the driver's side door was open. Jason didn't know what to do. He paced back and forth for 45 minutes until he entered the house without knocking. When he entered the house, he walked in on Ezra and Alex having a heated argument. But when they saw him, they acted as if nothing happened. You could feel the tension in the air, Jason said. They tried to appear emotionless and calm, but he suspected that something was wrong, that they were pretending everything was fine, but it wasn't. Jason suggested that they instead have this conversation in public. This way there's a less chance of anything bad happening if they're surrounded by other people. A police officer approached them as they walked out of the house. When a neighbour noticed Jason pacing back and forth and becoming concerned, they called the police. One officer approached Alex near Ezra's car. Another officer was speaking with Jason, and Jason stated, "She gave me a vibe today. I don't know. It does not feel right. Something feels wrong."
Who's the girlfriend?
Ezra McCandless.
Okay.
I was just worried because,
Was the door standing open over there when you got there on the car?
I knocked like 3 times. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear a scuffle or
Okay.
anything. So, knocked, yelled, opened the door, and I heard her say, "Let him help you. Let him help you." So then I said, "Hey, is everything okay? Is everyone all right now?" I mean, I'm a medic in the military, so I was paranoid. I was paranoid that someone was going to do something irrational.
Okay. And they're in the house on the corner here, or?
Yeah, they're on. I think they're fine though. I mean, I don't know. I'm just.
I just saw the door to the car was standing open too.
Yeah, I wanted to turn her car off. Her car was running, so that's why I was worried because it was running, and I was like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? Is everything okay?
Okay. Do you have any ID with you?
Yeah.
Jason, you live in town?
Roger that. Just worried. I don't think he's dangerous, but I don't know.
Do you know what his name is?
Alex Woodworth?
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Woodsworth or Woodsworth.
You can go over by your bike. Hi. Is everything okay here? Yeah. Okay. Somebody called us kind of worried because they saw Jason come over here and he was going in the car and they weren't sure what was going on.
No, everything's fine.
Everything's fine? Okay. They were just a little worried because they saw the car running over here and they weren't sure what was going on and all that jazz. You want to just slide it out of there? I don't want to take your wallet from you.
Sorry for all this,
It's okay.
emotion.
It's okay. I'd rather come here and check and it be nothing than have something bad happening. Ezra, where do you live? Okay. There you go. You guys are good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. We're good to go. Everything's good. They're okay. Yeah. Everything's fine. I'll take care of it too. No problem. All right. You have a good day.
At this time, they decided that everything was indeed fine, and they left a short time later. Jason now approached Ezra's car, and they spoke briefly, before Ezra said that she and Alex would finish their conversation somewhere else. Ezra then drove away with Alex in the passenger seat. 3 hours later, around 4:15 p.m, Ezra knocked on farmer Don Sipple's door. Her clothes were ripped, she had no shoes on, and she was covered in mud, blood and bruises. Ezra stated that she could not remember her name, or anything else. She instructed Don to contact a doctor. Don instead called the police. When they arrived, she told them to call Jason, and they then drove her to the hospital. She had 3 cuts on the palm of her hand, and the word boy was carved into her forearm. She also had signs of injury on her thighs and her jaw. Ezra was presenting as if she had been attacked. When the nurses asked Ezra about the word boy on her arm, she said that Alex Woodworth did it. However, the hospital staff could tell that the injuries were self-inflicted. The police started looking for Alex, searching his house, his place of work, and anywhere else that he could normally be found, but they could not find him. They contacted his family, but they too had not heard from Alex.
Did you guys leave Alex's house shortly after the cops came and checked in on you guys?
Yep, because I talked to the officer and said I was feeling fine and stuff, and he said everything seemed fine.
Okay. So then you left, and what vehicle did you leave in?
It's my car.
Okay. And then who was driving?
I was driving.
Okay. And then Alex was in the passenger seat?
Yeah.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then we were driving, and I was talking about stuff, and he seemed a little upset about some things, and then after that it just kind of gets funky, like, in my brain. Like, I just start to, it's like there's a blank slate.
What was he getting upset about?
He was upset because he was upset because of John and stuff. Because I talked a little bit about, like, you probably get questioned and stuff like that. That's what I told him. Is like, I'm sure you might get questioned at some point during the case and things. And he seemed upset about it. But he mostly seemed upset about Jason and I, because he told me, like, that if I proceeded to talk to Jason, he would be very upset.
Okay. So then what happened?
And then I just kind of remember just trying to explain myself and stuff, and then it just kind of gets, like, fuzzy for me.
Okay.
I just feel like all I can feel is, like, anxiety and, like, pain and stuff.
You get found in Menominee. How do you get to Menominee?
I don't know. I just kind of felt like I woke up and I was scared, so I was just walking down the road. What do you remember about that? I mean, I remember being cold.
Okay.
And that my feet hurt really bad.
If there was anything else that I would need to know, what else would I need to know? I mean, how would I find Alex?
I don't know.
Did he talk about wanting to harm himself ever? Did he talk about wanting to harm you? Did he?
He's in the past talked about harming himself a lot.
Okay. Like, what does he say?
He would talk about how that he would get upset because I didn't like him fully the way he liked me, and that it made him sad enough to want to hurt himself, and he actually did cut his wrist once. And it really scared me.
Whilst investigating, police saw muddy footprints coming from the top of the hill to the road and came across a car stuck in the mud. The car was at some distance, so they pulled out their binoculars. Doing so, they noticed a body hanging halfway out of the back seat. They then raced towards the car and immediately recognised it as Ezra's and identified the body as Alex Woodworth. Alex had 16 injuries made by a sharp implement. Police then returned to the hospital to inform Ezra of their findings, and suddenly, miraculously, she remembered everything.
Alex came after me.
Okay, walk me through that, please.
When
Like, how it happened.
I was in the back seat and I was looking for stuff, and I was moving things out of the way, trying to find anything to get my car out of there, because I was already anxious as it is. And then Alex came up from behind me, and then he just started grabbing me.
Okay, how was he grabbing you?
He grabbed me by the throat.
Okay.
And then he pushed me down.
When you say he pushed you down, where did he push you down?
In the car.
Okay.
And then he was on top of me, and he started cutting things. And it was really scary.
Okay, so he was cutting things on you. What was he cutting again?
My pants.
Okay, and then what happened?
He cut my pants, and I tried to grab it, and I hurt my hand.
Okay, let's see the hand, please. Okay.
And then I was moving a lot, and he cut my leg right here.
Okay. And then what happened?
And then after that, I started trying to wrestle him and fight him off of me, and kick and do whatever I could. But I got the knife, and then I just started.
How did you get the knife from him?
I grabbed it. I grabbed it from him, and I pulled.
What did you grab? The blade, or?
I grabbed the blade the one time, and that hurt a lot.
Okay.
So I tried grabbing the base of it.
Okay.
And then I don't know.
Okay. So once you have the knife in your hand, what happens?
He kept grabbing me.
Okay, how was he grabbing you?
Grabbing me by the arm and by, just anywhere. He just kept grabbing me.
Okay.
Because I was freaking out. I was just freaking out.
So he's grabbing you, and which hand do you have the knife in?
This one.
Okay, and how are you holding it?
I was just holding it like this.
Okay, so right now you have your fist pointing towards me. Was the blade pointed up or blade pointed down? Do you remember?
I think it was pointed down.
Okay. So then, do you remember?
Maybe.
Do you remember where you ended up stabbing him?
I don't really fully know because it was just anything and everywhere.
Okay, anything and everywhere is where you're stabbing him. So was he on top of you? So you have it here. Do you know if you stabbed him in the back or any place?
I don't know if I had it facing up or down.
Okay.
But I just...
Okay.
Everywhere.
Did all this stabbing take place in the car or outside?
More of it took place outside of the car because he went on top of me again.
He went on top of you again outside. So most of the stabbing you said took place outside.
It was inside the car, a lot took place, and then not that much else took place outside of the car after he was on top of me again.
Okay, so you kind of lost me on that part, Ezra. So some of the stabbing took place in the car.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it took place outside.
Not a lot. A lot of it took place in the car, and then outside the car, he came after me again.
Okay.
She claimed that she attacked Alex out of self-defense. She said that whilst they were arguing, he reached over and grabbed her forearm, causing her to panic. He began calling her boy and then took a knife and carved the word into her arm. He did this, she said, because he knew she struggled with her gender identity in high school. The police, however, were skeptical of her story. Alex would have had to have reached across Ezra, ignoring the arm that was already closest to him. And he would have had to have carved the word upside down. Boy was carved in such a way that only Ezra could read it the right way up, not Alex. When police pushed her on this, she admitted to carving the word into her own arm.
Okay. And then the boy carved in your arm. Okay. The part that throws me off on that is if I'm sitting here and he's going to be carving it in, it's written perfect with a right-hand person like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if he would write it in, it would have been reversed, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did boy get put in your arm? He didn't do that to you, did he? You carved boy into your own arm. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When did that happen?
That happened when I was in the car.
In the car with him? Or what?
When I was in the car after I woke up the second time.
So after you stabbed him and you came back into it, as you put it, because you blacked out, that's when you carved this in? Okay. How about the cuts to your legs? When did those happen?
Those happened before I stabbed.
And who did those?
He did those.
Okay.
She hurt really bad.
So he cut you here.
And here.
And he cut you on the legs, you're saying. But the boy was done by you. Why?
Because I felt really bad. Because I didn't want it to happen, and I felt really bad.
You didn't want what to happen? Ezra?
I didn't want any of it to happen.
Okay.
So I wrote it so that I have to remember what happened and feel bad about it.
What didn't you want to happen, Ezra?
I didn't want the attack to happen. I didn't want him to get hurt. And I feel really bad about what happened. I just did it so that I don't ever have, so that I don't forget.
Ezra now claimed that they were both in the back seat when Alex began attacking her and attempting to non-consensually assault her. She claimed that she grabbed the knife by the blade, causing the cuts in her palm, and at this point began using the blade against him. But the cuts in her palm were not deep and didn't match up with the story. They were merely superficial. Ezra claimed that Alex was in the car when she jabbed him, but all of the forensic evidence led investigators to believe that he was attacked outside. Looking at Alex's defensive wounds, he had none. Alex was found in possession of a scarf. Police believed he used it to apply pressure to his wounds before passing out. His phone was found smashed on the road. Ezra claimed that it fell, but the evidence said that she smashed it intentionally. 9 days after the attack on April the 6th, 2018, Ezra was arrested and charged with first-degree intentional homicide. On October the 15th, 2019, 18 months after Alex passed, the trial began. Alex was manipulating Ezra into intimate acts, according to Ezra's defense story.
So, let me ask this. Did Alex refer to you as a boy?
Yes.
Do you know why he referred to you as a boy? Did he tell you why?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, as our relationship progressed, I told him about how I identified in the past as almost strictly masculine. And he preferred that I presented myself in a masculine way. He often told me how confident I looked and how much he was attracted to me because he could call me a boy, his boy, and present that way.
Did you present yourself as a male to Alex?
Yes, I did.
What about the word boy specifically? How did you feel about his use of the word boy?
The word boy specifically, at first it was gender, as you can call it, but then the word became more possessive. I was his boy. It felt objectifying at times.
And what do you mean by objectifying?
I felt as if I was an object, that I was not Ezra McCandless, essentially, but I was just his boy.
Ezra now once more changed her story, claiming that she kneed Alex, causing him to drop the knife, and she then grabbed the knife and began attacking him back. This was instead of the story she told the police, saying she grabbed the knife by the blade. Prosecution claimed that the attack was premeditated. When Ezra left Eau Claire, she took the knife from her father's house and kept it in the car until she saw Alex. The prosecution claimed that once they left Jason at Alex's house, they were driving down the road and the car then became stuck. And then when Alex exited the car to inspect the situation, Ezra attacked him from behind. Because his body was only halfway in the seat, it's believed that he either attempted to climb in to save himself, or that he got himself back in the seat and Ezra attempted to drag him out. Alex's wounds were not instantly fatal. This means that he would have survived if he had received medical attention sooner. The prosecution claimed that Ezra took Alex out of the picture because she wanted to rekindle her relationship with Jason. To do this, in Ezra's eyes, Alex needed to be gone. However, the defense claimed that Alex did not want Ezra to rekindle her relationship with Jason, and that when he forced himself on her, she then attacked him in self-defense. On November the 1st, 2019, Ezra McCandless was convicted of first-degree intentional homicide against Alex Woodworth after just 3 hours of deliberation. Ezra was sentenced to life in prison on February the 7th, 2020, with the possibility of parole after 50 years. The judge stated that he chose 50 years in the hopes that Alex's parents will not be alive to experience the heartbreak of seeing someone who took their son's life to be free again.
I want to say how sorry I am that they have lost their son. But sorry doesn't cut it in my mind. That word is not enough and never will be enough for this loss. And I recognize that. I don't think I could ever find words that will be enough to express this, especially to them. The pain they feel is unimaginable. I want to express how sorry I am for this loss, because it is such a great loss. I recognize and completely acknowledge this pain, and I'm so sorry. I loved Alex very much, and I also feel a great loss. And I'm so sorry. And thank you for letting me say this. Thank you.
Ezra is currently being held in Wisconsin. Her mother runs an Instagram account that sells her artwork in order to fund her appeals. Do you believe Ezra's story or that of the prosecution? Do you think her punishment fits the crime? Let me know down in the comments. Join the Dark Case family now by hitting subscribe and turning on notifications. Make sure you hit like to spread awareness of this case. Thanks to my patrons Karen Jones, Addy Alexander, David James, Jason Grout and Shane Woodward. Look after yourself and I'll see you soon.